The magic feeling which creates instant Richard Dotz. Chapter 1. What is the magic feeling which creates instant manifestations? What is the magic feeling which creates instant manifestations? Allow me to explain through the following amazing encounter which happened to me years ago. Many years ago, while I was serving in the military, I found myself entering into a very relaxed and non-resistant state of mind. Since everything was regimental and strict in the army, I found myself surrendering to the moment and taking things one step at a time. I figured that rather than make myself miserable by counting the number of days before my ordeal was over, I would take things one step at a time, and live one moment at a time. I would immerse myself fully in the task at hand, whether it was marching from one place to another, cleaning my rifle, or in some activity that was assigned to me. No matter how mundane it was, I would stop fighting with reality or complain about it, as some of my mates were doing, which only made them more depressed and irritable. I would take whatever that came willingly, and be at peace with everything. Surprisingly, my method of coping worked. Much of my misery and despair vanished as I began to immerse myself deeply into each waking moment instead of worrying about when my freedom would arrive. Back then, I had no other choice but to surrender fully to the moment in order to preserve my own sanity. Little did I know that my life was about to change. Whenever I had spare moments in the bunk, I would lie in my bed and look out through the windows at the sky outside, while feeling the sunlight soaking through every cell of my body. Since all our food and lodging was provided for and as our physical freedom was limited, I had little worldly wants, financial worries and thoughts about how I was going to spend my time. Problems which occupied my mind as a civilian in the past gradually faded away. With all my decisions made for me, my mind had little to worry about. Without realizing it, I was actually slipping into a non-resistant, light state of mind, a state of letting go. I was breaking free from my old habitual patterns of thought which had built up over many years of negative programming and conditioning. These habits were formed as a result of my previous environment, but now this new environment I was thrust into forced me to operate in an entirely different way. This was many years before I would write my first book and embark on a career as a spiritual author, so I did not have a framework through which to interpret my experiences back then. But looking back now, I was indeed putting myself into a very conducive state for manifestations and physical demonstrations to occur in one's life. Since my mind was in a neutral state of void, it began to fill itself with positive thoughts. This is similar to what many spiritual masters teach. For example, Abraham Hicks teaches that when resistance ceases, what follows is a slightly positive and attractive charge. My Theravada Buddhism meditation teachers taught that a mind accustomed to negative thoughts is akin to a vehicle in reverse gear, and it would be much more beneficial for it to first shift into neutral, a state of void, rather than to shift directly into drive, forward motion. From Rivers, lying there in my dinghy bunk bed, I began giving thanks and expressing deep appreciation for everything I had. I reached a state of peace and surrender. There was nothing more to ask for except to give thanks. I began feeling the presence of God or Source, even there and then in that lifeless place, more so than I felt when my physical freedom was not restricted. I said thank you in my mind over and over again, and a sense of euphoria would sweep over me as I repeated those words silently in my mind. Incidentally, a well-known quote by Meister Eckhart goes like this: "If the only prayer you ever say in your whole life is thank you, that would suffice." Thinking back, I wonder if he was hinting at a deeper and more profound spiritual truth. I wasn't giving thanks for anything in particular. I just said those words and felt the feelings of immense gratitude and appreciation, a feeling that I later learned was very close to source energy. I visualized the sunlight flooding my cells, and that this light was actually God expressing itself as infinite intelligence, love and light. Whatever name I called it wasn't important anymore. I just gave thanks and felt a rapturous sense of joy and appreciation run through my body. I closed my eyes whenever I felt like it and opened them again to look at the light around me. Goosebumps and a positive electrifying energy went through my whole body. I felt immense joy and a very intense yet gentle, loving feeling that no words can properly describe. Even today, it was the magic feeling which creates instant manifestations. I was already a voracious reader back then, and would pack a few books to read during my spare time in the military base. I figured reading would at least fill my mind with positive thoughts, rather than dwell on the drab reality around me. My family would help me gather the books I was interested in, and I would pick them up when I had my weekends off to read over the next couple of weeks. One day, as I flipped open a new book which I had brought in to read, I realized it was not an ordinary book but rather a numbered, autographed copy by an author I greatly admired. This delighted me greatly as there was no indication on the book cover that it would be an autographed copy, and certainly no indication was made when the book was sold. Along with the author's signature was a serial number of the signed book. It was not a spiritual book, so there was no special significance to the book title either. When my eyes fell on those numbers along with the author's signature, a strange but strong feeling of inner knowing came over me. It was the magic feeling which creates instant manifestations. At that very moment, I knew that those were the winning numbers for the local lottery. Now some explanation is in order so that you can grasp the significance of that very moment. Up till that point in my life, I had not played the lottery, not even once. I did not believe in gambling, given that I had a very scientific upbringing which taught me how infinitesimally small the statistical chances were. And yet there I was, staring at those numbers, feeling those rapturous goosebumps all over my body and getting that magical feeling. I had won, I knew it. These were the winning numbers, even before I purchased a single ticket. I wish I had the words today to adequately describe how I felt back then at that very magical moment, but all I could do was to pace up and down my bunk while bursting with thanks, saying thank you over and over in my head to the universe. I had won and I knew it. There was no question and no doubt about it. If any logical person were to peer inside my head back then, it would have been absolutely absurd. There was no physical evidence, not a single shred of it, except a very strong sense of inner knowing that came directly from Source. Source was sending me a direct message that I could not ignore. The impulse was too strong. No external confirmation was necessary. I sent a message to my mom and asked her to play those numbers for me in the local lottery. Now bear in mind that I had never played the lottery before, so getting someone else to play those numbers for me was indeed an unusual thing to do. It was totally out of character, but the impulse was so strong and right that I just could not ignore it. I acted on faith, which is believing in something before there is any physical evidence of its manifestation. It was to be a week before the results were announced. Each time I thought about the lottery, that magical feeling came back and all I could say was thank you, thank you, thank you. There was absolutely no question in my heart that I had won. There was not a single doubt or nagging worry about whether it was all real, or whether I was making things up. I just had a very deep sense of inner knowing. I received a message from my mom the following week. The numbers I played came out as the second prize. I had indeed won. What were the odds? I received a few $1,000s into my life doing nothing. What struck me was how calm I felt upon hearing the news. I gave thanks and that magic feeling came flooding back to me once more, but at the same time I wasn't surprised or shocked. It was as if something I already knew inside of me all along had just been confirmed externally. There is a second happy ending to this story too. My mom, who knew it was out of character for me to play the lottery, placed her bets on those numbers too, except they were way bigger bets than me, and she won big too that day. Guess part of my old conditioning was still restricting me from playing too big. I love this story because it beautifully illustrates all the spiritual principles I often talk about. It has all the ingredients one would need for a successful demonstration. Think about how much energy someone would have had to put in to deliberately orchestrate the whole thing. First, he would have to slip the right numbers into the book. Next, I would have to decide to purchase the right title, at the right time. and get the exact right copy shipped to me with a serial number that would match the winning numbers. I would also have to pick the book up at exactly the right moment and see those numbers. Then I would still need the inspiration to buy those lottery tickets at the right time. From our limited physical perspective, the logistics involved are indeed too mind-boggling and numerous for us to consider. The sheer energy and planning involved would have been so great. But when the universe is at your side, nothing is ever too big or impossible. Know this. The universe does not discern or discriminate between a big or small request. It does not judge. After all, everything is just energy flowing into and out of form, and the universe has unlimited resources at its disposal to make things happen for you if you'll do your part. But you must do your part and keep your part. As Abraham Hicks teach, it is as easy to create a castle as a button. It's just a matter of whether you focus on a castle or the button. So what's your part in this whole equation? What's the inner work you have to do? What is the magic feeling which results in instant manifestations? That's what this short book is about. In a nutshell, if you're willing to do the inner work, if you do your part, and none of it is really the dreadful physical action or hard work, the universe responds in the most miraculous and amazing ways possible, ways that will leave you scratching your head in awe and wonderment. Did I really manifest that? This is going to be a very short read. That's because I don't want you to keep reading. I want you to go out and play with this stuff. Feel the magic feeling and that sense of eager anticipation that something is on its way to you. The magic is in the feeling, as countless spiritual teachers that walk the path have put it. And your job in a nutshell is to feel the magic feeling. As Emmett Fox wrote in The Golden Key to Prayer, the mistake made by many people, when things go wrong, is to skim through book after book, without getting anywhere. Ask yourself if you too are falling into this trap of skimming book after book, looking for proof that something works before you are willing to try it. Prove it to me before I'll do the inner work necessary. This is the exact attitude that keeps the good of many people from coming to them. If you understand and play with the lessons taught in this book, no more words shall be necessary. The universe works in miraculous ways, and has its own magical doorways to you. It has an unlimited number of ways to deliver your heart's desires to you, unless you close off these doorways with your own limited thinking and negativity. Even when I was isolated from the outside world, in a distant military base with no contact with the rest of the world, the universe still orchestrated an amazing, and easy, way to deliver my heart's desires to me. There was no effort involved. I did not need to make contact with the outside world before something happened. The universe worked within the constraints of my environment and delivered my heart's desires to me, through the path of least resistance. It always chooses the easiest and most harmonious way to deliver something to you, if you let it. Most people fall prey to preconceived limitations and negative beliefs they have unknowingly placed on themselves. They argue fervently for their limitations, explaining why they can't have so-and-so or why they can't have whatever they desire. I find that amusing since the universe always finds a way to you, as it did for me. If the channels of your mind are open, all limitations are man-made and self-perceived, and there are absolutely no limitations to the universe. I mean this quite literally when I say it. For the universe and the infinite intelligence that flows through all of us has the power to make things happen and create new options when previously there were none. As Bashar teaches so articulately and paraphrased in my own understanding, when you think you have no options, that is precisely when you have an unlimited number of options available to you. In other words, when you think no doors are open to you, that is when you are free to create your own limitless possibilities. Let's get started so you can learn how to tap into this magic feeling immediately. It will be fun. Chapter 2: How the magic feeling feels. Like the magic feeling is a byproduct of alignment with the universe, with Source. This magic feeling is just as accessible to you as it is to me, and it will flow readily to anyone who seeks it. When I experienced the seemingly miraculous demonstration of money while I was in the military, I was not a particularly spiritual person. I was learning how to kill. I had not read many of the books that I went on to read, or acquired much of the knowledge and knowing that I've had since then, yet all of it still worked for me. Universal intelligence is non-judgmental and omnipresent, always in action with no exceptions. It works for you wherever you are, whoever you are, with no physical limitations imposed by time or space. As such, all limitations are self-imposed and can be dissolved. They were not even there in the first place. These act as barriers to you receiving your good. No one else out there is restricting the goodness that can flow to you except yourself. Unlimited well-being flows into your experience right now, and the magic feeling is proof of it. The magic feeling is a euphoric feeling of peace and well-being that lets you know you are on track and connected with the greater part of you. It is the feeling which quite literally creates instant manifestations. If you get yourself into this feeling state place often, then whatever you want will happen very quickly for you. I'll first talk about how the magic feeling might feel like to you, before explaining how you too can live from this state of peace and love most of the time. Since I've only experienced this feeling from my own physical perspective, I can't tell you definitively how it will feel like for you, but from my experience sharing this information with others, your feelings and physical sensations will probably be very similar to mine, since we are all one and the same. Please bear in mind that I am using the closest equivalent words I can find to translate and describe my experiences, so you should not be too caught up with the words that I've chosen to use, as both of us may attach different connotations to the same word. Rather, try to perceive what is the underlying, deeper feeling I'm trying to convey through my writing, and we'll be on the same page. We are moving from the realm of the physical into the inner spiritual world here, where words may not always be adequate. Whenever I feel the magic feeling, a tremendous sense of well-being, joy and love wells up inside of me. Goosebumps start forming all over my arms and legs, and the feeling of warmth washes over me. I feel energized as these waves of good feeling sweep over me. These feelings come in waves for me, and sometimes they are so intense that I close my eyes just to bask in them. At times, the feeling becomes so intense that I can feel buzzing or a slight tingling sensation. While it may be intense, the magic feeling is never uncomfortable, and you'll know it is right when you feel it. Some of you reading this may instinctively know what I'm talking about. You may even have felt it before. It is as if some kind of inner connection is being made with Source that is giving you that inner confirmation, or click that everything is alright, all is well. Now here's the tricky thing about this magic feeling: you can't fake it. It wells up inside of you on its own accord. You can't pretend to be feeling it when you're not. It is also not dependent on any external circumstances or events. You have to get to the feeling yourself. Although sometimes happy external events may serve as a stimulus or spark, a bridge of some sorts, the magic feeling arises spontaneously, out of its own accord and for no particular reason at all. When you feel the magic feeling, you feel good not because there is anything outside of you that is causing you to do so or giving you reason to feel good. Rather, it's because you're in alignment with your true, powerful self and you know it. The magic feeling is one of empowerment, deep trust and inner knowing. There are a number of daily activities that may cause the magic feeling to well up spontaneously within you. For example, if you have ever read a good spiritual book and noticed that it struck a chord within you, and felt those goosebumps as you instantly recognized the truth within its pages, that's possibly very close to the magic feeling. If you have ever sat quietly by yourself and meditated until a sense of profound joy came over you, that's probably the magic feeling as well. If you have ever watched a beautiful sunset, been swept off your feet by nature, fallen in love, all of that probably brings you very close to the magic feeling as well. I use the words very close because from my personal experience, external triggers do not seem to bring me as close to a magic feeling experience that arises internally and spontaneously. The intensity does not seem to be the same. I guess another way of putting it is that the vibration does not seem as pure. This is why I recommend that you should always practice feeling the magic feeling sitting quietly, by yourself, The next chapter will show you how. Chapter 3, How to Feel the Magic Feeling. The best way to get in touch with the magic feeling is through sitting quietly by yourself. As you practice and become more accustomed to the magic feeling, you'll be able to access this feeling anywhere, without the need for any particular spot or posture. For example, I can feel the magic feeling in the background as I write this. It is a deep, peaceful feeling of love and joy that just seems to well up spontaneously within me and stay in the background as I write this. It is almost a feeling of love and excitement, knowing that something good is happening. Once you have been in touch with the magic feeling, all you need to do is to notice that it's there, and it will well up spontaneously for you. For some people who are accustomed to a logical, outer-directed way of operating in the world, as I did in the past before my military camp experience changed me, it can take some effort to switch to a more inner-directed mode of operation. Start by sitting quietly in a place where you will not be disturbed. For a start, remove all sources of external disturbances that can possibly occur. For example, switch off your mobile phones, lock the doors, or take the phone off the hook if you need to. Sometimes, the very anticipation or fear of being disturbed will cause the mind to be unsettled, so we want to remove all these disturbances wherever possible. Note that you can access the magic feeling at any place and at any time. So it does not mean that you will not be able to get to that magic feeling if your environment is not totally quiet or optimal. You can do this before sleep too, as you lie in bed with your eyes closed. Ensure that you are well supported in your chair and close your eyes. We are not doing a meditation or visualization exercise here, so don't strain to see anything. Don't strain to relax either. Just let everything be easy, peaceful and natural. Just close your eyes and turn your awareness inwards. We operate with an outer-directed mode of consciousness for most of our waking hours, and it can be unfamiliar to switch to an inner-directed mode of consciousness all at once. It might feel different for you, but that is all right. Let whatever that happens for you be okay. As you focus more inwardly upon your inner world, you may notice darkness or see flashes of lights behind your closed eyelids. Those are natural and the result of your optic nerves still firing off actively. Ignore those phenomenon. Just sit quietly and easily by yourself. It may be helpful here to tell yourself that you have all the time in the world. You are not rushing to do anything, or to get anything right. You are just sitting quietly by yourself. Everything just is. Observe, notice your breathing, but make no attempts to control it. Just let everything be. If worrying thoughts come into your awareness, just gently observe but do not engage in them. Instead, focus on your breathing. Once you are 10-15 minutes into this, or whenever you feel peaceful and at ease, begin to notice that sense of peace that is within you. It may only be a very small piece of peace, but notice that despite all of the other thoughts that you may have floating in your awareness, there is a part of you that is peaceful and grounded. There is a part of you, however small it is at the moment, that is unchanging, eternal and still. Notice this small part of you within yourself. In other words, notice that slight feeling of peace within you and bring your awareness to it. Just notice it in silence. As you notice and connect with this part of you in stillness, you'll find the feelings of peace becoming stronger and stronger. You'll find that this small piece of peace starts filling up your entire awareness, and that it is now a bigger piece of peace. If you sit long enough with this awareness, you'll find yourself feeling peaceful, still and even joyful. Once you get in touch with the larger part of yourself that is love, peace and joy, you'll find that this love and joy grows and seems to spill over. You'll find the love and appreciation for everything welling up within you. This feeling gets stronger and more intense as you notice it. Notice this feeling without attempting to influence it. This is the magic feeling which creates instant manifestations. Notice that you're not trying to influence anything through the earlier activity. All you are doing is to sit quietly by yourself, and to notice the small, still, peaceful part of yourself that is eternal and unchanging. And as you get in touch with this part of yourself, your higher self, the magic feeling of worthiness, love and joy wells up spontaneously within yourself as confirmation. as a byproduct of that alignment. Therefore, the magic feeling is a byproduct of your alignment with Source. When you feel the magic feeling, you are vibrating at a higher level that is more in alignment with your true self. For a start, try to get in touch with the magic feeling a few times each day. Once you are accustomed with how it feels like, you can start practicing at more places. You can do it at work, while you're driving, while you're standing in line at the grocery store. You may only be able to notice and access the magic feeling initially with your eyes closed. I'll explain why this is so in the next chapter, but soon you'll be able to notice the magic feeling anywhere, even when engaged in other activities. This is because you're always connected to Source and to universal intelligence, no matter where you are. Chapter 4: What the magic feeling is not. Common manifestation pitfalls. Let's spend a few moments to clarify what the magic feeling is not. The magic feeling is not an attempt to visualize what you want, as taught in many traditional manifestation teachings. You do not go through the earlier exercise with the purpose of visualizing what you want. Instead, what you're trying to do is to notice the feeling of stillness and inner peace within you. The only purpose of going through the earlier exercise is to sit with that feeling of inner peace. Through noticing that greater part of you, you make it grow bigger and bigger until you identify fully with your greater self that has no limitations and boundless potential. One that is not limited by any physical barriers of time or space. You're noticing with your heart and not with your inner eyes. The magic feeling is also not about trying to conjure up the feelings of already having your desires fulfilled. It is not feeling as if, as taught by many books and New Age teachers. There is a difference between the two which warrants some further explanation. If you understand this, you'll understand why the act of feeling as if still does not work for some people. When you are feeling the feelings of having your desires already fulfilled, you are accessing a new state of possibility with your mind. Since your mind is connected to your body, you are also physiologically putting your body in touch with that new, future state of having whatever desires materialized for you right now. The advantage of this practice is that it can help you break free of limiting beliefs by putting your mind and body in a very powerful physiological state that is completely different from the one you are currently in. This is a very powerful experiential exercise, as an individual might have had many limiting beliefs and reasons as to why he could not have something. For example, I do not have enough money, I do not know how to get it, I do not deserve this, etc. And the exercise of feeling as if can be so strong physiologically that it drives out all these feelings of limitation and replaces them with feelings of empowerment, possibility and self-worth. However, this exercise is only effective if you do not contradict yourself after the fact, and only if you do not revert to your old way of thinking, your old physiological state, during the rest of your waking moments. Therefore, while feeling as if helps you to access a powerful physiological state of all your desires already manifest, it will not help if you keep regressing into your old state of being. For the exercise to be most effective, you must stay in the new state for most of your waking moments, in order to maintain the same attractive charge. This is what I've discovered from my own personal experience, and is really easier said than done for most people due to our negative mental conditioning that has built up possibly over several decades. The second reason I've discovered as to why feeling as if does not always work is because it can actually make us feel very excited as opposed to relax while we are doing the visualization exercise. Let me explain. Suppose you are visualizing a new, exciting and more abundant future. As you feel the feelings of the desires already manifest, you start becoming more excited and the feelings become more real for you. At this point, the heart rates of most people will increase instead of decrease. In other words, instead of feeling more relaxed, you're actually feeling more excited, which is counter to the conducive state needed for manifestations and demonstrations to occur. For manifestations to occur effectively, one needs to be in a very relaxed and heightened state of awareness. However, feeling as if has the effect of causing just the opposite if you start feeling more excited and carried away by the visualization as opposed to feeling more relaxed. Chapter 5: The breezes at dawn have secrets to tell you. Are you starting to put two and two together already? People who find that their desires materialize for them very quickly when they use visualization are actually in two worlds at once. First, they manage to break through their old physiological states and access the new physiological state where their desires are already manifest. Second, and this is the key, they do so while at the same time becoming more relaxed and not more excited. Whatever excitement they feel is actually a state of heightened relaxation and awareness, not the usual feelings of excitement and adrenaline pumping that the rest of us get when we get excited. A good indication is your heart rate. Does it go up or down as you visualize? That'll probably give you an indication of whether you are truly relaxed or otherwise. Do you see now why visualization works so effectively for only a portion of the population but not for others? And do you also see why there are fervent believers and supporters of visualization, those who just can't seem to figure out why the rest of the people cannot do it? Then there are those who can't seem to figure out why all this new age visualization woo-woo works. Through my experiences with helping others, I have found that there is indeed quite a sizable proportion for whom which visualization and feeling as if does not work. I have also found that the main reason why this is so is because they actually get more excited, as opposed to relaxed when they are visualizing. If you're currently practicing some form of visualization and feeling as if, try this simple change. Try to see if you can be in two worlds at once, that is, while visualizing and feeling your desires already fulfilled. Tell yourself to go into a deeper state of mental relaxation. It may be helpful if you begin this exercise with an already relaxed state of mind and body, and then remain there for the duration of the entire visualization. If you can make this simple change to your visualization routine and stay increasingly relaxed while you're visualizing, you'll find manifestations appearing in your life at a pace that will surprise you. The following poem from Mystic Rumi illustrates this point beautifully. The breezes at dawn have secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the doorsill where the two worlds touch. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep. Rumi was trying to say that when one is at the threshold of waking consciousness and sleep, they are at a state which is most conducive for manifestations to occur. It is a state of deep relaxation, possibly the alpha or theta brainwave frequencies, as we'll discuss in the next chapter. Therefore, if you wish to visualize effectively, do so when you are mentally relaxed. I'll return to this point again later in the book. Chapter 6, The Science Behind the Magic Feeling. After first experiencing the magic feeling many years ago and the magical state of being that followed, one where all my desires manifest spontaneously with very little doing on my part, I tried to deconstruct my experience and come up with possible theories of what could have happened. A part of me wanted to understand how I was able to access that manifestative state so easily, so I could do it again. For many years I thought that the magic feeling was responsible for these fast, spontaneous manifestations. I thought the feeling itself was responsible for the physical demonstrations, and that this feeling was somehow responsible for attracting my outer physical reality. After many more years of pondering and experimentation, I realized that my earlier conjectures were not very accurate. As I put it today, the magic feeling is a byproduct of alignment with Source. It lets you know that you are in tune with the universe, and in alignment with the greater part of you. It is a signal, an indicator of sorts, that lets you know you are moving on the right path. Therefore, the feeling itself is secondary. The primary cause of the manifestations and physical demonstrations is alignment with the greater part of yourself. There is nothing magical in the feeling itself, other than to let you know that you are entering into this very conducive state for manifestations. When you first access the magic feeling, you'll find it useful to close your eyes. I now know that whenever I'm feeling the magic feeling, I am in a state of relaxed alertness and deep mental relaxation. My brain waves slow from our normal waking consciousness of theta to possibly alpha or even theta frequencies. I know this to be the case because I have also felt the magic feeling when I followed certain specific steps taught by spiritual masters to specifically access the alpha or theta frequencies, which are also very conducive for manifestations. However, I have found that these steps are not always necessary once your body already knows the magic feeling, and you'll always be able to access these relaxed states of consciousness easily without going through the same specific steps. In other words, follow my instructions in Chapter 3, How to Feel the Magic Feeling, and your body will feel more and more relaxed, and slip into alpha-theta frequencies on its own. The only prerequisite is that you close your eyes while feeling the magic feeling, as this keeps you in that alpha-theta state. You may, as I have, see or perceive a sense of brightness, as if the room you are in is suddenly brightened or flooded with light. This is more positive confirmation that you are in a theta brainwave state. While you may be curious when you suddenly perceive this brightness and feel like opening your eyes, do not do so because this will break you out of the theta state of consciousness. When our eyes are open, we are usually in beta waking consciousness. As I became more proficient at accessing the magic feeling, I was able to do so with my eyes open. However, my gaze would soften and my vision would become very diffused. This is once again another indication that I'm in a predominantly alpha state of brainwave activity. Some people can end up feeling spacey when they are in such a state, which is why I recommend closing your eyes so that your attention can be drawn fully inwards. Spiritual teachers, such as Jose Silva and many more spiritual healers, have taught that the state of alpha or theta brainwave activity is especially conducive for mental programming or visualizations, which once again ties into what we learned in the last chapter. The only difference in the current process I am offering you is that you do not attempt to visualize or program yourself while in this state, and instead focus on finding that peace and inner stillness within yourself. Chapter 7: What to do when you feel the magic feeling? Up till this point we have talked about what the magic feeling is, how and why it works, and how you can access the magic feeling at will. You are probably excited about this new technique, and you should be, as it opens up to a whole new world of exciting possibilities. I want to emphasize here again that you access the magic feeling because it feels good, not because you want to attract anything at all. This is an important distinction to make. If you try to conjure up the magic feeling with the hope of making something happen, then all that efforting and strain is going to keep the magic feeling from coming to you in the first place. So do what I did many years ago and surrender completely to the moment. Be at peace with the moment and observe that peace within you. Observe, notice the magic feeling and feel it well up within you, building up gradually, getting stronger and stronger without any particular need or want for anything. This is what sets this practice apart from the others. You can use this magic feeling technique in conjunction with your other meditation or visualization techniques, but be sure that you access the magic feeling and make it as strong and intense as it possibly can be first. Get to a stage where you are able to feel the magic feeling and sensations as strongly as possible. They can also become stronger and more intense. The magic feeling may be very subtle and slight at first, but if you allow this feeling to intensify, it will become stronger and stronger with each practice. When I access the magic feeling today, it is a distinctive, strong and intense experience that greatly energizes me. Therefore, focus on intensifying the magic feeling until it becomes very strong for you. Do this practice on its own, apart from your other manifestation techniques or visualization exercises. Chapter 8: Using the magic feeling for physical manifestations. If you have skipped to this chapter without reading the preceding chapters, please go back and read the chapters in sequence. This is because what is written here will not totally make sense to you if you do not have the necessary background knowledge. Please be sure to go back and do all the suggested exercises in the preceding chapters, until you are able to intensify your own magic feeling until it is quite strong and intense. From my experience, there is not limit to how strong or intense the magic feeling can be, and there is no ceiling on how good it can feel. The more I allow, the more I feel the magic feeling. For the first few weeks of your practice, you should probably focus on intensifying the magic feeling until it happens spontaneously and effortlessly for you. When you get to a stage of being able to conjure it up, by this I mean feel the magic feeling, at will, then you can start being more deliberate in your intent and use the magic feeling for some physical manifestations. However, if you cannot feel the magic feeling at all, then you should go back and practice until you can. As mentioned, it takes time for some because the magic feeling requires inner directed attention, which is not usually the dominant mode of operation many of us in the modern world are used to. We are used to observing and controlling external circumstances and events, instead of paying attention to our inner states. Therefore, give yourself some time and always make the process fun. Treat it like play instead of a chore. Sit quietly by yourself and adopt a playful attitude to this whole affair. Ask yourself, I wonder what I'll feel in today's session, or I wonder what I'll create in today's session, rather than I wonder if I'm doing it right. A simple shift in attitude can make a huge difference in results. Once you can successfully feel and access the magic feeling, a few things will be apparent to you. First, and this goes without saying, it feels very good. The magic feeling just feels good on its own, and there is a sense of pure joy, lightness and bliss while you bask in it. So what you want to do is to gradually increase the time which you spend feeling the magic feeling. Up to 15 minutes a day is alright, although at the start there is a tendency for you to want to spend the majority of your time accessing this magic feeling. The downside is that an individual can end up getting very spacey and zoned out, as is typical of someone who has spent too much time in alpha-theta brainwave frequencies. Therefore 15 minutes a day is more than ideal, or 3 5 to 10 minute sessions spaced out evenly throughout the day. Second, you want to notice the magic feeling even during your ordinary waking moments. You want to be in touch with this magic feeling and just recognize its presence even when you are engaged in everyday activities. For example, I recognize the magic feeling just below the threshold of my everyday thoughts and awareness as I am showering or driving. Sometimes the moment I recognize and notice it, it gets stronger for me. Therefore, what you want to do is to have a subtle sense of awareness that the magic feeling is there. The magic feeling is your doorway, your portal to manifestation, and the objective is to recognize that this doorway is open to you at all times, no matter where you are or what activities you are engaged in. This doorway is your portal to the divine, to your higher self, and it is always available to you at all times. Third, know that your only job is to feel this magic feeling, and let the universe take care of the rest. Remember what we talked about in the first chapter, about you doing your part and the universe doing the rest? Your part in this whole equation is to decide what you want, and then to stay in a state that is conducive for manifestations. I talk about the first part, deciding what you want, in my other book, Band Manifestation Secrets. This book you're currently reading focuses more on the second part, staying in that magical state that is conducive for manifestations. You stay in this conducive state by accessing the magic feeling as often as possible, and by noticing the magic feeling as often as possible. This is my promise to you, as realized from my own personal experience and from the experiences of many others I've taught this technique to. If you will do your job of feeling the magic feeling as often as possible, for the sole purpose of feeling good and nothing else, not worrying or wondering about how something will come to you, then everything you want will come into your life very quickly in exactly the right harmonious order. You'll not have to give up anything to have something. The universe will come up with an arrangement that is perfect for everyone. You will not have to strain or effort, or work hard to get it, unless of course, that is also your choice. I am often in awe over the circumstances which the sum of money was delivered to me when I first felt that magic feeling many years ago. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't have written such an outlandish story, with all the right elements and timing coming into play at the perfect time. Remember, the universe always delivers everything to you in perfect timing. It is always trying to knock on your doors. Unless you close them, when there are no paths available, it will create one. When I was physically unable to work for my money in conventional and traditional ways while in the military, it found another way to deliver whatever I wanted to me. This is the power of the magic feeling that creates instant manifestations, and now you know how to tap into it too. When you're connected to your higher self and the greater part of you that is infinite intelligence, you gain access to information that you wouldn't normally know as part of your usual physical experience on this planet. For example, I was able to know that those numbers delivered to me were the winning numbers for the lottery. This inner knowing came directly from Source, and not from any external sources or evidence. As you allow more to flow into your physical experience through practicing the techniques taught in this book, you too will strengthen your own connection with Source. You too will find it usual to directly know information that you couldn't have possibly known through normal means. This is what spiritual masters refer to as an inner or direct knowing. When you are connected to universal consciousness, then universal information is available directly to you. There are no conduits or channels you need through which the information will come to you. It can flow to you directly, because the pipeline is always available. I've recently heard a wonderful analogy about universal power, and I think it is a befitting closing for this short book. Universal power is accessible and available to everyone, but you must first know how to tap into it. Similarly, the powers of the magic feeling are available to everyone, but you must first know how to access it. Tapping into universal power is like living in a modern house wired with electrical amenities and lighting. But unless you learn how to turn the switch on, none of it will flow to you. The techniques outlined in this book teach you how to turn that very switch on. In the next chapter, I'll answer common questions asked about the magic feeling as it relates to physical demonstrations. Chapter 9. Common questions and answers on demonstrations. These are a list of common questions I get asked often about the manifestative process and about physical demonstrations. Reading through this list of questions and my responses may help clarify the process for you. Sometimes a subtle change in perception can illuminate the whole subject for us, and make a world of difference. Q. When you recount the experience you had while in the military, there was no indication about your desire for money, and yet it still came to you. Why is that? I always thought you had to first ask for something. A. There is a good observation, and as I explain in my book Banned Manifestation Secrets, we do not always have to explicitly ask for something in words. Many times, we ask by virtue of our actions, or even more subtly, through our thoughts and preferences. In other words, the universe always knows your exact thoughts and intentions even though you may not always formulate them into proper words and sentences. One of the things I was probably asking for, though not in words, back then was probably freedom. Freedom is synonymous with money in our culture and society. With money, a lot of things and experiences are possible. Therefore, universal intelligence recognized that money was probably central to fulfilling my desires at that time. Remember, the universe is infinitely intelligent. It will always deliver something that is just right for you, in the right order, if you let it. Many people are worried about asking, whether they are asking in the right way or doing it wrongly. The truth is, there is no right way to ask. If you follow the steps outlined in this book and access the magic feelings often, whatever you want, and more will come to you, and it will always be pleasing, just right, and better than you can imagine it to be. Q. Have you used the magic feeling to win the lottery since then? Can the magic feeling be used to win the lottery? A. The magic feeling can certainly be used to win the lottery, as nothing is impossible for the universe. However, I have not used the magic feeling to win the lottery since then. It was my one and only time, and I believe this is the explanation for it. At that time, my physical freedom was severely restricted, and that means money could not possibly have flowed to me in other ways. For example, I could not have worked for a living, or offered my services in any other ways. Therefore, One of the most direct and harmonious ways for the universe to deliver such a gift of money to me was through letting me win the lottery. Winning the lottery was within what I could have done at that time, as the universe saw to it that it only involved me asking someone else to buy a ticket on my behalf. Looking back, it was really the perfect money manifestation. Since then, I have had many more happy financial manifestations, but those have not come in the form of winning the lottery. They have come in a multitude of other ways, channels, such as new clients appearing out of the blue, new job opportunities, new jobs, and so on. Your question brings up a very important point, which is this: the universe always knows the best, most direct and most harmonious ways, the path of least resistance to deliver your innermost desires to you. So leave this part of the equation to the universe. Figuring out how it will come to you, or through which channel it will come to you, is unnecessary and only delays the manifestation process. From where you are right now, the lottery may seem like the best way for you to receive money into your life. That is merely from our limited human perspective, when in fact anything can happen. So leave it to the universe to figure this out. Letting go of how it will come to you is not always easy, but if you can focus on feeling the magic feeling and let the rest go, then the things you want will magically, and quite instantly, appear in your life like magic. But it is not magic. We all are, designed to function in this way. When someone asks if the magic feeling can be used to win the lottery, the short answer is that it can, but I would encourage you to look at the deeper reason for wanting to win the lottery. If your aim is financial freedom, then there are a myriad of ways that the universe can deliver that to you. Focusing exclusively on the lottery as the only channel can be counterproductive. Q. Is the magic feeling just about feeling good and happy? A. The magic feeling is close to the feelings of joy and happiness, but it is much more intense and stronger than that. The best way I can describe it is this. Think about an event or something that makes you happy. Notice the happiness that you feel within you as you think of this event. To me, this feeling is rather one-dimensional. It is just a feeling of joy or happiness, but when you are feeling the magic feeling, the feeling is multidimensional. You are feeling joy, happiness, elation, love, peace, appreciation all at once, all rolled into one. This is why the magic feeling is different from just feeling good. It is not just feeling good. You need to spend some time to intensify these good feelings and remain there. But feeling good happy is a good start. Q. Is the magic feeling you talk about same as being in the vortex, as taught by Abraham Hicks? A. Yes, I have come to understand it as being the same thing. If you like the vortex analogy used by Abraham Hicks, you may even perceive spinning energy or intense spinning energy while feeling the magic feeling. I believe Abraham chose to call it a vortex for this reason. It is one and the same thing. The value I believe I have added, hopefully, is that I describe it from a physical human perspective that facilitates our understanding and application, rather than from the predominantly non-physical perspective of Abraham, which may not be immediately apparent to all. Q. What do I do once I feel the magic feeling? A. This is a very interesting question. One major difference you'll feel when you get the magic feeling is a sense of tremendous fulfillment and joy. The feeling is one of there is nothing more I need. Everything is already here and complete. You feel such abundance and fulfillment, which really means you do not have a sense of an absence of your desire. That's why it can be difficult to think about the things you want once you are feeling the magic feeling strongly. Which is why I do not recommend doing any visualizations or setting any intentions while you are having the magic feeling. For all intents and purposes, you already have everything once you feel the magic feeling. Your question leads to another interesting development, which is this. Once you stay in the magic feeling for long enough, your desires and things that feel good to you will start flooding to you in thoughts or pictures. For example, once you feel the magic feeling strongly and stay in that state, you'll also start spontaneously thinking about things that feel good to you. That is a natural, spontaneous attraction of all things which you want to you, in terms of their thought vibrational forms. Notice that this is different from deliberately thinking about it first. Here you are being led into it naturally and spontaneously. You'll find the magic feeling intensifying even more at this point, indicating greater alignment, and you can keep at it. There is nothing more you have to do. Q. The feelings are so intense I cannot handle them. I feel like I am bursting with rapturous joy. A. This is a good sign. Source or universal energy is vibrating at a very pure and high rate. When you start accessing the magic feeling, it is like being plugged into this universal power socket, and the energy that flows through you can be so intense. However, as I've mentioned, the feeling is never uncomfortable or painful. It is always a feeling of extreme joy and elation. Your physical body will adjust to these sensations over time as you allow more and more. As mentioned in my opening chapter, there were moments when the feeling was so intense that tears would stream down my cheeks for no particular reason. This is our body's natural response to releasing resistance, and feeling the magic feeling was allowing me to release my resistance. Q. I wonder if I am doing this right. Am I feeling the right magic feeling? A. There is no right magic feeling. As I've explained, the magic feeling is a byproduct of alignment. It is your physical body's way of letting you know that you are aligning with the bigger part of yourself, the all-knowing part that is infinite intelligence itself. You'll know when you feel the magic feeling because it is unlike the normal joy or happiness which you experience in daily life. Q. Something good happened to me today while I wasn't feeling the magic feeling. I thought you had to feel the magic feeling for good things to happen to you? A. The best way I can explain it is this. We are always connected to source energy, the greater part of ourselves. The only difference is how much of it we are allowing, or how strong the connection is. Think of an electrical circuit with a current running through the wires. If there is high resistance in the wires, the current flowing through will be reduced and the bulb will not glow as brightly. If there is low resistance, more current flows through and the bulb glows brightly. A brightly glowing bulb is like feeling the magic feeling. You are that light bulb experiencing that connection with Source. When you're not feeling the magic feeling, it does not mean you're not connected to Source. The connection is always there. It may just be that the bulb is glowing too dimly for you to notice. This is a good point you have made because it shows that we do not always have to access the magic feeling and stay there. Sometimes we are there, we allow more, and sometimes we are not. The key is to allow yourself to spend the majority of your time feeling the magic feeling, or at least noticing its existence, noticing your connection with Source. You'll also notice once you start accessing the magic feeling that good things will happen to you on a frequent basis in your life. This too is a byproduct of intensifying your magic feeling, allowing more from Source. Chapter 10, New Chapter, How to Relax Deeply to Get What You Want. Author's Note: this is a new chapter written for the second edition of this book. Readers of the first edition may find it useful to read this additional chapter and integrate the information into their daily practice. The information contained in this chapter will greatly enhance your results. Now let's get started. This plain truth has been written in thousands of spiritual and self-help books worldwide, but it took me 10 years to make the connection between these two subjects. Since ancient times, we have had entire spiritual and meditative practices focused on physical and mental relaxation for greater well-being. Browse the spiritual self-help section of any bookstore or library and you'll find that in almost every book, a meditation or relaxation practice of some kind is included. Why is this so? If you remember only one thing from this chapter, let it be this. Your ability to manifest is in direct proportion to your ability to relax deeply. This link is so important that I must repeat it again. Your ability to manifest is in direct proportion to your ability to relax deeply. Be sure to understand this at a conscious level. Today, we have entire books devoted to helping others achieve greater physical and mental relaxation. The immediate benefits of achieving a state of total relaxation are obvious: lower stress hormones such as cortisol secreted by the body into the bloodstream, a greater state of well-being, happiness and better health. but there are other benefits when you are able to relax deeply as well, something that has not been clearly articulated in any of the modern teachings. Relaxing deeply allows you to reach an inner state that is extremely conducive for manifestations to occur. I call this a manifestative state. The poet Rumi calls it the place where the two worlds touch. I touched upon this concept briefly in chapters 4 and 5 of this book when I talked about how the key to visualizations is to relax more deeply instead of getting more excited about your desires. Some people are able to ease into a relaxed state of mind and body more easily than others, and hence they are also more effective visualizers and manifestors. On the other hand, others do not find it as easy to relax at will. The harder they try, the more unsettled or irritated they become, leading to little or no results. The harder you try to relax, the harder it becomes. It's like telling yourself not to think of the pink elephant. Entire books have been written about the powers of the mind, and the feats of mental magic that can occur if you are able to reach a deeply relaxed state. While these feats are not the focus of this book, all of these teachings have one thing in common: they assume that you are able to reach a state of mental relaxation easily, and on demand. Cultivating your ability to be deeply relaxed is hence one of the most valuable skills you can pick up. In response to questions from many readers, I'll share some of my own techniques for achieving deep mental and physical relaxation at will. Since the mind leads the body, physical relaxation follows mental relaxation. In other words, once you quiet the mind, the body is calm and relaxed as well. Before I identified this link between one's ability to relax and our abilities to manifest, I spent very little time and attention on this part of the equation. I was always focused on what actual steps one had to take in order to make things happen. I was always obsessed with the steps to take after the relaxation occurred. For example, what to visualize, or what to repeat in my head. But I now know that first achieving relaxation is a very crucial piece of the puzzle, and without achieving a deep state of relaxation, nothing else works. Perhaps you think it is easy to relax deeply. After all, don't we all do it when we fall asleep at night? But let me qualify my earlier sentence by adding in 3 words. Your ability to manifest is in direct proportion to your ability to relax deeply without falling asleep. Most people have no trouble relaxing deeply, but the problem is that they fall asleep once they reach a deep state of mental relaxation. Conscious control is needed in a state of deep mental relaxation for you to state your intentions and desires clearly. This is what Rumi means to be at the doorway between the two worlds. If you can reach this state, you'll be a highly effective conscious manifester. After I saw the link between relaxation and manifestation, I still wasn't sure of the best way to relax deeply. I tried many practices, drawing from various traditions and religions, ranging from focusing entirely on your breathing, chanting mantras to visualization. I also tried guided imagery and tapes. All had their own value. Eventually, I found 2 practices that contributed greatly to my ability to relax at will. When I find something that works, I usually try to integrate the best elements into my daily practice. 3 to 1 inches method. The first effective way I have found to relax deeply is through the 3 to 1 method taught by Jose Silva, the creator of the Silva Mind Control Method. For those of you unfamiliar with this method, developed in the 1960s and popular in the 1970s, the Silva method teaches a way to reach a state of deep mental relaxation known as the alpha state. Once a practitioner of the Silva method has reached the alpha state, he can then direct his mind in a number of ways for various purposes, such as for the healing of oneself or others, remote viewing, or reaching out and communicating to others at a subconscious level. The Silva method is not as popular today as it was in its heydays in the 70s and 80s when the world was just opening up to the enormous potential of the human mind. Although many modern spiritual and self-help teachers were originally trained in the Silva method, for one, I am familiar with its teachings, although with the exception of the mental relaxation exercise, I do not use its techniques on a regular basis. I find that the Silva method emphasizes following a formulaic, step-by-step process to achieve specific aims, while I prefer to use a more spontaneous and hands-off approach. Also, I feel that beginners learning the Silva method can be led off the wrong path, and can spend a disproportionate amount of effort seeking to control others through the methods taught, such as trying to influence the behavior of others. Of course, these will work for a while, but one eventually comes to realize that trying to control the behavior of others is always futile, and we cannot seek to change our world by seeking to change others. Therefore, I had found it more useful to take the broader principles and lessons taught by the Silva method instead of relying more directly on its specific processes. The Silva 3-2-1 inches technique is essentially a guided relaxation and visualization exercise. The practitioner takes a deep breath, exhales and visualizes the number 3 times. This is followed by taking a deep breath, exhaling and visualizing the number 2 3 times. Finally, one takes a deep breath, exhales and visualizes the number 1 3 times. In a guided session, this is done with the alpha sound in the background and the instructor giving you certain cues to relax specific parts of the body, aimed at taking you to the alpha brainwave state. The intention is that eventually, just by following the steps above, without the alpha sound or audio guidance, one will be able to reach a deeply relaxed, alpha brainwave state. It is important to reiterate here that as with any guided imagery or spiritual practice, the aim is to help you reach a conducive inner state on your own. These tools and inductions are merely learning aids we use along our journey to get there. They make learning a little easier for us. Think about it like the training wheels on the bicycle that help us balance, or a specially designed golf swing trainer you use to help you get the right swing. One does not expect to stay on training wheels forever, nor use the golf swing trainer right before every shot on the golf course. That would be absurd. Therefore, no spiritual prescription or relaxation process should ever be seen as a permanent crutch. They merely help us to get to and internalize that inner state. Thereafter we are able to reach there on our own. Using a biofeedback device to help you relax. Another highly effective method I have found to reach a magnetic, manifestative inner state is by using a specially designed biofeedback device. This is a portable, handheld device, and while not exactly inexpensive, does its job very well and is well worth the manifestation results to me. As mentioned above, whenever there is a learning aid or a tool that can help simplify my learning process and ease me in sooner, I'll use and take full advantage of it. I know of some purists who insist on using the power of their mind alone, and prefer to rely only on one's mental effort and will. However, that would be ignoring all these wonderful advances that science has made so far. I therefore encourage the use of any technological aids as long as they are non-invasive and safe. Spirituality is to evolve with the times. Using a biofeedback device has helped me greatly in this area as long as you use it with the awareness that it is a learning aid and not a crutch. There are several such devices on the market, but they all have essentially the same purpose: to cue your body to relax further using its own physiological response. You start by placing your thumb on the device and following its cues to inhale or exhale. The biofeedback device I use works by measuring your heart rate coherence, which is how consistent your heart rate is. If your heart rate fluctuates, goes from fast to slow, from one moment to the next, then you are likely not physically relaxed and the device glows red. However, once your heart rate is slowed and highly coherent, you are in a state of deep physical and mental relaxation, at which point the light changes from red to orange to green. The longer you stay in this coherent state, the more relaxed and at peace you feel. Remember that since the mind and body are connected, it is not possible to show signs of physical relaxation and still not be mentally relaxed. The device cues you to relax by showing you when and how fast to inhale or exhale. It adjusts this rate based on your heartbeat. As you relax further, the breathing rate decreases as well. For a start, it may take a while for the indicator light to go from red to orange to green. indicating high coherence and deep relaxation, but with practice and visual feedback, you will improve over time and it becomes easier for you to enter a manifestative state of mind. One thing I have discovered after using this tool is that it allows me to get into a state of deep mental and physical relaxation very quickly, even more effective than any guided visualization session. One challenge I have found with guided visualization sessions is that they sometimes take too long, around 15 minutes to an hour or more, and I tend to get accustomed to hearing the same set of spoken instructions. At other times, I get bored with hearing the same voice over and over again, so much so that I am not even motivated to pop the CD in. There may also be situations where it is not convenient to use headphones or listen to guided relaxation tapes. These issues are cleverly overcome with a biofeedback device. I start off by using the device with my eyes open, looking at the breathing cues. Thereafter, as I ease into a state of deeper relaxation and heart rate coherence, I gently close my eyes and allow the audio tones to guide me. The device beeps differently based on how deeply relaxed you are, and I use this as external confirmation in my meditative practice. Today, I can identify this feeling of deep relaxation and get into it very quickly, because my body has internalized this inner state and knows how it feels like. I can therefore do it without the device, but as mentioned earlier, this was a necessary learning aid to get to this state, which might otherwise have taken many more years of practice. What happens once you reach a state of deep mental and physical relaxation? First, of course, you start to feel waves of pleasure waft over you. You start to feel the magic feeling. As you practice and deepen your relaxation response even further by letting go of mental resistance, you'll be able to intensify the sensations of the magic feeling even further. And any intentions which you state while in deep relaxation happens very quickly for you. There are several biofeedback devices on the market, with some more expensive and features-laden. The one I personally use and recommend is the MWAV 2, which is not too expensive and portable. It can also be connected to your computer for additional features, such as to play relaxation games and to monitor your process over a longer period of time, although I use it mainly for manifestation purposes. More information about the MWAV 2 is available at http://www.bandmanifestationsecrets.com/biofeedback. As mentioned earlier, it is not necessary for you to rely on any external relaxation aid if you belong to the part of the population that is already adept at achieving a state of relaxation at will. For example, it was easier for me to relax after I learned the various breathing and meditative techniques, which some of you may have experience with. However, if you find it difficult to relax deeply, or find it difficult to maintain the state of deep relaxation and stay there long enough without falling asleep or snapping out of it, I hope the 2 suggestions I have mentioned in this updated chapter can be of help to your spiritual practice. All the best in your manifestations.